Biden to provide financial assistance, seniors getting thousands, finally getting some good news. And when it comes to gas prices, you know what we know, they're very high. But with today's update and the White House's recent decision, things may become even worse. I know, I didn't think that they could do it, but here we are. What's going on, you guys? It is Ron here. Welcome back to the channel. But before we continue, please take a second, drop a like for the video, and also subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, be sure to hit the link in the description down below and get your free home warranty quote. Never be caught off guard by a very expensive home repair again. Get your free home warranty quote link in the description down below. Now, as inflation mounts, President Joe Biden's team is looking at options on whether to cut tariffs on Chinese imports or to keep them in place. Now, as reported, there have been weeks of deliberations, although White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, she did not provide a timeline for the president's decision after she was asked if the president is waiting until he can talk to Chinese President Xi Jinping. According to Jean-Pierre, the last conversation between the leaders was in March of this year, and that lines of communications are open. As Biden relied heavily on unions for his 2020 presidential bid, the question now is, how will he face this decision? Especially with more than 400 requests to keep tariffs in place on goods from the East have been submitted to the U.S. Trade Representative's office. Among them were a committee of 24 labor unions that the tariffs that were imposed by former President Donald Trump be maintained. With recent news on President Biden on a mission to beg for oil in the Middle East, French President Emmanuel Macron has warned that his efforts may be unrewarded. According to Macron, UAE's president told him that both Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates can barely increase oil production, and that this will surely put a wrench into President Biden's plans if it's true. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have been seen as the only two countries in the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, also known as OPEC, with spare capacity to hopefully boost the global supply in efforts to lower gas prices. According to Macron, I had a call with MBZ. He told me two things. I'm at a maximum capacity. This is what he claims. And then he said the Saudis can increase by 150,000 barrels per day, maybe a little bit more, but they don't have huge capacities before 6 months' time, end quote. MBZ stands for UAE leader Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. The French leader was heard telling this to President Biden on the sidelines of the recent G7 summit. Does this foil President Biden's plan of asking for more oil production overseas? Maybe even from Venezuela? Or would that be a bad idea? As we're on the topic of oil overseas, did you know that more than 5 million barrels of oil that are part of a historic U.S. emergency reserves release were exported? That's right, you guys. It's being reported last month that the oil that was supposed to lower domestic fuel prices, it was sent over to Europe and Asia. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve was supposed to lower our gas prices here at home, with at least 1 million barrels per day being released, although it's not as effective as it was expected to be. Matt Smith, lead oil analyst at Kepler, said this: crude and fuel prices would likely be higher if the SPR releases hadn't happened, but at the same time, it isn't really having the effect that was assumed, end quote. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. Stimulus checks were wildly popular when they were introduced, and with the current economic status of our country, more and more American households are holding out hope for a fourth stimulus check. Now, with November fast approaching, President Biden is traveling to Ohio to announce pension plans for millions of Americans with the intent to get the working class voter back on his side once the election time comes. Financial assistance will be provided by the White House to multi-employer pension funds, which are currently projected to run out by 2026. Now, these funds are created via agreements between a union and the employers. Now, with this financing, it could keep them funded until 2051. With President Biden's approval ratings inching toward its lowest level since he took office, about 57% of Americans disapprove of his performance so far. Back in May, when he visited, President Biden promised to bring back jobs, promised to withstand competition from China and build back the state's manufacturing industry. Has any of that happened? The plan has been set back as Intel Corp was supposed to conduct a groundbreaking this July 22nd for a computer chip plant near the state's capital of Columbus. This after a planned investment of about $50 billion in the semiconductor industry has been stalled in Congress. Nancy Pelosi's husband was recently charged with a DUI, causing injury as he drove with a 0.08% blood alcohol level or higher during the incident. Now, we should remind you guys that the police waited 5 hours before testing him, waiting for him to sober up, but still got this very high level of alcohol content. It's also questionable why authorities are not releasing any body cam footage from the arrest. Those who are familiar with avoidance tactics say that he may not have been alone when the accident happened, and they're trying to protect that person or any other person that may have been in the car with him at the time. I guess they used his PP for this. Do you think any other normal American would have gotten the same treatment? Oh, what's that? What's a PP? Oh, Pelosi privilege. What else would it be? You guys will be glad to know that Paul is doing fine. He's doing so well that instead of serving any jail time, he's at an Italian resort owned by Andrea Bocelli with his wife Nancy Pelosi. Do you know how exclusive this resort is? Well, it's so exclusive that rates for personal cabins are only available for emailed requests. It's not just available at the get-go. Now, it's great to see our taxes working for us. Moving on, a new bill could give seniors an extra $2,400 a year. Finally, some extra money for our seniors. We know that our seniors have been getting the short end of the stick. Even with statewide stimulus checks, they've been mostly excluded. Anyway, this new bill is called the Social Security Expansion Act, and it was introduced last June 9th by Representative Peter DeFazio and Senator Bernie Sanders. In it, anyone who is a recipient of Social Security or who will turn 62 next year would receive an extra $200 in monthly checks, sort of like a means to make up for all the other stimulus checks that may have been missed. Martha Shedden, president of the National Association of Registered Social Security Analysts, said many seniors rely on Social Security for the majority, if not all, of their income. $200 a month can make a significant difference for many people. I'm confident changes will be made. I don't know if this is the bill that will pass, but there is more and more movement on it." End quote. The bill is also said to base the annual cost of living average on the Consumer Price Index for the elderly rather than the CPI or the urban wage earners and clerical workers. Financial worries have not spared many people in our country. I know that a lot of us are struggling with our day-to-day expenses, with food, rent, and gas prices all just soaring. It's very easy to lose track of what we need to do each and every single day. But know that you guys are amazing and that this is just a small step back for a huge comeback. Let's hang in there, guys. And on that note, I hope you guys hang out here more. And if you want to, please do subscribe to the channel for daily updates. Also, don't forget to smash the like button. I really appreciate that. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the support. This is Ron. I'll see you guys on the next one. Inflation is only going one direction, and that is up. Soaring food prices at the grocery stores. Gas prices jumping 20, 30, 50 cents in a day. Oil and gas companies hitting record profits. Inflation has never been this high since 1982. But every little bit helps. For a limited time only, M1 Finance is offering $50 for free when you open up a new brokerage account at M1 Finance. Now, one way that I've found to offset the cost of inflation is to find the companies that are actually paying dividends. They're literally paying you to own their stocks. And you no longer need a lot of money to invest. M1 Finance offers fractional share purchases, meaning you can buy a piece of a stock. Just the other day, I placed an order to buy stocks for just $1. So there's no more excuses, you guys. The wealthy and big corporations always benefit from inflation. Now we can take advantage of it and get these big, powerful companies to pay us. Make sure to get your free $50 when you open a new account at M1 Finance with as little as $100.